Patriot Security Recruiter Background Checks. What is the purpose of a background check? Criminal history. The primary purpose of a background check is to uncover any criminal history of the candidate. This includes searching for past convictions, or pending criminal cases. When running a background, we must follow TOP's rules and regulations. If anything comes up in an applicant's background, the recruiter must call the hiring manager or vice president for approval. Rule Section 35.4 Guidelines for disqualifying criminal offenses. For all candidates, the private security industry is in a position of trust. It provides services to members of the public that involve access to confidential information, to private property, and to the more vulnerable and defenseless persons within our society. By virtue of their licenses, security professionals are provided with greater opportunities to engage in fraud, theft, or related property crimes. In addition, licensure provides those predisposed to commit assaultive or sexual crimes with greater opportunities to engage in such conduct and to escape detection or prosecution. Therefore, the board has determined that offenses of the following types directly relate to the duties and responsibilities of those who are licensed under the Act. Such offenses include crimes under the laws of another state or the United States. If the offense contains elements that are substantially similar to the elements of an offense under the law of this state. Such offenses also include those aggravated or otherwise enhanced versions of the listed offenses. See, the list of offenses in this subsection is intended to provide guidance only, and is not exhaustive of either the offenses that may relate to a particular regulated occupation, or of those that are independently disqualifying under Texas Occupations Code 53.021A2. 4. The listed offenses are general categories that include all specific offenses within the corresponding chapter of the Texas Penal Code. In addition, after due consideration of the circumstances of the criminal act and its relationship to the position of trust involved in the particular licensed occupation, the board may find that an offense not described below also renders a person unfit to hold a license. In particular, an offense that is committed in one's capacity as a registrant under the Act, or an offense that is facilitated by one's registration, endorsement, or commission under the Act, will be considered related to the licensed occupation and may render the person unfit to hold the license. 1. Arson, damage to property. Any offense under the Texas Penal Code, Chapter 28. 2. Assaultee, any offense under the Texas Penal Code, Chapter 22. 3. Bribery, any offense under the Texas Penal Code, Chapter 36. For burglary and criminal trespass, any offense under the Texas Penal Code, Chapter 30. 5. Criminal homicide, any offense under the Texas Penal Code, Chapter 19. 6. Disorderly conduct, any offense under the Texas Penal Code, Chapter 42. 7. Fraud, any offense under the Texas Penal Code, Chapter 32. 8. Kidnapping, any offense under the Texas Penal Code, Chapter 20. 9. Obstructing governmental operation, any offense under the Texas Penal Code, Chapter 38. 10. Perjury, any offense under the Texas Penal Code, Chapter 37. 11. Robbery, any offense under the Texas Penal Code, Chapter 29. 12. Sexual offenses, any under the Texas Penal Code, Chapter 21. 13. Theft, any offense under the Texas Penal Code, Chapter 31. 14. In addition. 1. In addition, an attempt to commit a crime listed in this subsection. B. Aiding and abetting in the commission of a crime listed in this subsection. And 6. C. Being an accessory before or after the fact to a crime listed in this subsection. D. A felony conviction for an offense listed in subsection C of this section is disqualifying for 10 years from the date of the completion of the sentence, unless subject to this subsection. A class A misdemeanor conviction for an offense listed in subsection C of this section is disqualifying for 5 years from the date of completion of the sentence. F. Conviction for a felony or class A offense that does not relate to the occupation for which license is sought is disqualifying for 5 years from the date of commission, pursuant to Texas Occupations Code 53.021A2. G. Independently of whether the offense is otherwise described or listed in subsection C of this section. A conviction for an offense listed in Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 42.1 to Section 3 grams, or Article 54, or that is a sexually violent offense defined by Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 62.1, or a conviction for burglary of a habitation is permanently disqualifying subject to the requirements of Texas Occupations Code, Chapter 53. Our Class B misdemeanor conviction for an offense listed in subsection C of this section is disqualifying for 5 years from the date of conviction. A Class B misdemeanor conviction for an offense listed in subsection C of this section. I. Any unlisted offense that is substantially similar in elements to an offense listed in subsection C of this section is disqualifying in the same manner as the corresponding listed offense. J. A pending Class B misdemeanor charged by information for an offense listed in subsection C of this section is grounds for summary suspension. K. Any pending Class A misdemeanor charged by information or pending felony charged by indictment is grounds for summary suspension. L. In determining the fitness to perform the duties and discharge the responsibilities of the licensed occupation of a person against whom disqualifying charges have been filed or who has been convicted of a disqualifying offense, the Board shall consider 1. The extent and nature of the person's past criminal activity, 2. The age of the person when the crime was committed, 3. The amount of time that has elapsed since the person's last criminal activity, 4. The conduct and work activity of the person before and after the criminal activity, 5. Evidence of the person's rehabilitation or rehabilitative effort while incarcerated or after release, 6. The date the person will be eligible, and 7. Any other evidence of the person's fitness, including letters of recommendation from prosecutors or law enforcement and correctional officers who prosecuted, arrested, or had custodial responsibility for the person, or b. the sheriff or chief of police in the community where the person resides, meter. In addition to the documentation listed in subsection L of this section, the applicant or licensee or registrant shall furnish proof in the form required by the department that the person has 1. Maintained a record of steady employment, 2. Supported the applicant's dependents, 3. Maintained a record of good conduct, and 4. Paid all outstanding court costs, supervision fees, fines and restitution, ordered in any criminal case in which the applicant has been charged or convicted, n. The failure to timely provide the information listed in subsection L and subsection M of this section may result in the proposed action being taken against the application or license. O. The provisions of this section are authorized by the Act 1700.00 for B and are intended to comply with the requirements of Texas Occupations Code. Chapter 53, Sec.170 to .113 General Qualifications for a Security Officer. Commissioned Officer Qualifications, Sec. 1700 to .113. General Qualifications for Company License or Security Officer Commission. An applicant for a company license or security officer commission must be at least 18 years of age and must not 1. At the time of application, be charged under an information or indictment with the commission of a Class A or Class B misdemeanor or felony offense determined to be disqualifying by commission rule. 2. Have been found by a court to be incompetent by reason of a mental defect or disease and not have been restored to competency. 3. Have been dishonorably discharged from the United States Armed Services. discharged from the United States Armed Services under other conditions determined by the Commission to be prohibitive, or dismissed from the United States Armed Services if a commissioned officer in the United States Armed Services, or 4B required to register in this or any other state as a sex offender. How to run a background check. The first background you will need to run a Public Data Advanced Background Check. Login.publicdata.com. Next, you will need to enter the account number and also the password. The background check that must be completed is a criminal advanced background. In the search bar, you will need to include the following in this order: first name, last name, year of birth, month of birth and day of birth. Next, you will need to hit the search button to see the results of your search. Your results should come back: no records matching search criteria. If anything comes up in the background, you will need to consult with the hiring manager or vice president before proceeding any further with the candidate. Corporate required additional background checks. There are 2 additional backgrounds that must be completed for all corporate candidates. The first is Jefferson County. The second is Orange County. The second background check that must be completed for corporate is Jefferson County. Jefferson County https://jeffersontxclerk.man@ron.com. You will need to click on the disclaimer to enter the site. Next, you will need to click on the criminal court. Now you will need to enter in the name section, last name and first name, then hit search. Your background should come back with 0 records found. If anything comes up in the background, you will need to consult with the hiring manager or vice president before proceeding any further with the candidate. If anything comes up in the background, you will need to consult with the hiring manager or vice president before proceeding any further with the candidate. The second corporate background you need to run is Orange County. Orange County https://mrc.co.orange.tx.us:867/mrcjava/se or vlet/mrcpublic.m00390s. You will need to search for active warrants on the candidate. Click on search by name and enter the following information: last name, first name and birth date. Once you hit enter, the results should come back that the applicant's record does not exist. If anything comes up in the background, you will need to consult with the hiring manager or vice president before proceeding any further with the candidate. Houston required additional background checks. There are 2 additional backgrounds that must be completed for all Houston candidates. The first is Harris County. The second is Chambers County. The second background check that must be completed for Houston is Harris County. Harris County https://www.hcdistrictclerk.com/common/default.aspx. Click on search records. Click on background check. Enter first name, last name, date of birth and also complete verification. Your background search should not return any records. If anything comes up in candidate's background, please contact the hiring manager for approval of the candidate. Chambers County https://portal-txchambers.tylertech.cloud/portal/. Click on the smart search. Enter last name and first name and check the box I am not a robot. Then hit submit. The background should come back no cases match your search. If anything comes up in candidate's background, please contact the hiring manager for approval of the candidate.